Hey guys, welcome to another video. I'm Olive from Yarnpunzel.com. There's a written pattern available to go with this video from sizes extra small to 5XL. You'll find the link to the pattern in the description box. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you find content like this useful. Let's jump right in. For this tutorial, we're going to be using a finger weight yarn, 5mm hook and 4 stitch markers, and I'm making this in a size medium. That's to fit a bust measurement of 36 to 38 inches or 91.5 to 96.5 centimeters. And for this, we're going to be starting by making a crochet cord, not a crochet chain. So I have a video on different kinds of crochet cords and how to use them. You could go ahead and check that out. The link will be in the description box. And to make this cord, we're going to leave a tail. I'm leaving a tail of this long. This is the end of about this long, and then I'm going to make a slip knot. Okay. So this one is the tail, and then this one is the yarn connected to the ball. Okay. So to make the crochet cord, we're going to take the tail and then wrap around like this counterclockwise, and then yarn over and pull through. Okay, you've made your first stitch. Then next, wrap around, okay, and then pull second. Again, make sure not to pull this tight, just wrap around and then pull to finish. Okay, wrap around. Okay, so we're going to continue doing this until we have 96 stitches. Okay, so the reason why we're doing this is because for this design the neckline is kind of small, and if you do regular chains it's usually tight, but this is stretchy, so it stretches and then still bounces back. So that's why we're going to be using this cord instead of regular crochet chains. So go ahead and make 96 of this, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay guys, I have 96 of this. Okay, now next step is make sure you're using this is the yarn connected to the ball, and now we're going to join to begin working in the round. So make sure you don't twist this. Okay. Twist this. Okay. Okay. Now into the first, we're going to be going in through the back loop of this cord into the first stitch on the cord, insert your hook into the back loop and work a single crochet. Okay, and go ahead and attach a stitch marker to mark the first stitch. We're going to be working in a continuous round, that is, we're not going to be slip stitching to join, so having the stitch marker will help save your sanity so you don't miss your first stitch. Okay, so into the next, work single crochet. So just continue in this manner, working single crochet in every single stitch, and I'll meet you guys at the end of the round. Okay guys, so when you work the single crochet, you want to bring up the loop a little bit higher, so on the next round you'll be able to insert your hook into the V that it creates. And some of us, when we crochet, we use our index finger to hold the yarn, and what I've noticed is when I do this I tighten the stitch, and you don't want to tighten the stitch, so for this stitch I had to unlearn. So when I crochet, I just hold the hook like so, and I insert into, and then I bring and I So I no longer do this. When I do this, I notice that I sometimes tighten the stitch, so I just rest my fingers on this plastic handle and then I just work single crochets all the way around, because if you tighten the stitch, when you come for the next round, it's going to be hard for you to work the split single crochet. So if you crochet like I used to do before, you might have to unlearn that. So this is what I do now. I just insert my hook and then I no longer use my index finger to guide the yarn. Okay. So guys, by the end of round 1, to begin round 2, remove the stitch marker, okay, and then into the first stitch we're going to be working a back loop only single crochet, okay, into the first stitch with the back loop only single crochet. So in case you're wondering about the music playing, there's a school close to where I live and they're having a graduation party today, so it's pretty loud and I can't put off making this video any much longer. I don't mind the noise, I hope you guys don't too. Okay, into the next stitch, which is going to be the second, we're going to work a split single crochet. So if you look, you see that the single crochet stitch has this V thingy. Okay, so we're going to insert our hook into that V. Okay, insert your hook into the V. And on the back, we're going to be coming out through the upside down V at the back. Okay, and yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, and close the stitch. To the next back loop only single crochet. Okay, and to the next we're going to work a split single crochet. So this stitch is sometimes called the waistcoat stitch or centered single crochet, but I like to call it the split single crochet. So into the next stitch we're going to be working a split single crochet into the V, and when you come out, make sure you come out through the upside down V. Okay, and then yarn over and pull loop through. So the first few rows of this stitch pattern can be very frustrating, but just keep up, it gets easier as you go. So this is going to be the repeat for the entire round, so go ahead and work back loop only single crochet, then split single crochet all the way around, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay guys, I'm at the end of round 2. For round 3, remove the stitch marker. Okay, so into the first stitch, work a back loop only single crochet. So we're going to be working the same stitch as the stitch from the previous row, and that's going to be the repeat for this stitch pattern. Okay, so into the next, which is a split single crochet, we're going to be working a split single crochet in that stitch as well. Remember to make sure you're splitting the stitch the right way, and then okay, next is going to be back loop only single crochet, work, and then the next is going to be a split single crochet. So go ahead and repeat this stitch pattern for this round, which is round 3, and then repeat it for round 4 to 7, and then I'll meet you guys back. Now you can see the stitch pattern start to come alive. I want to say that I did not invent this stitch. I saw it first on Brianna K Designs YouTube channel. Okay, this is the end of round 7. So round 8 is going to be an increased round. And we're going to be increasing every second stitch. Okay, remove the stitch marker. And for every increased round and the round after the increased round, we're going to be working split single crochets all the way around. So no more back loop only single crochet. So into the first stitch, we're going to go in through the V. The stitch is a back loop only single crochet, but now we're going to be working a split single crochet into that stitch. So, okay, and then work. Okay, that's it. That's the first stitch of round 8. Go back and attach a stitch marker so you don't lose. And the next, which is going to be second, is going to be increased by 1 stitch. So we're going to work 2 split single crochets into this stitch. So go ahead into one. Okay, and then work 1 split single crochet and work 2. Okay, now the next stitch, which is going to be a back loop only single crochet, we're going to be working a split single crochet into that stitch. So into the V. Oh god, I made it too tight, so it's okay. In and then pull up loop. This is why you should work your stitches loosely. Okay, then the next is going to be increased. So you're going to repeat that sequence going all the way around for round 8, and then for round 9 we're going to work split single crochets in every single stitch, no increases, and then repeat round 2 to 7 for round 10 to 15. You can see it on this sample that I'm working on. And then for round 16 we're going to be increasing, but then we're going to be increasing every third stitch for that round. And then for every increased round we're going to be working split single crochets only. And for round 17 work split single crochets all the way around. Okay, and then repeat 2 to 7 for round 17, for round 18, to 23, which is going to be here. And then 24 is going to be an increased round, and for that round we're going to be increasing every 4th stitch. Okay, and remember, for every increased round we're only going to be working split single crochets for every single stitch. And then for round 25 work split single crochets all the way around, no increases, and then repeat 2 to 7 for 27 to 31, and then I'll meet you guys back. So I thought, how about we all start round 31 together? And also I'm here to offer you guys a tip to make working this stitch pattern easy and less frustrating. Okay, to begin round 31, remove the stitch marker. Into the first stitch we're going to be working a back loop only single crochet. Okay, and the magic loop. This loop is called the magic loop. So bring up a little bit higher, so that on the next round when we work split single crochets you can easily work into the V. Okay, so into the next it's going to be a split single crochet. So insert your hook into a stitch. Okay, make sure you're splitting correctly. I like to turn to the back to make sure I'm splitting the upside down V at the back too. And then pull up a loop. The magic loop, this loop, pull it higher than you would normally, and then close off the stitch. This gives you space so that on the next round when you work you can easily work into the V of the stitch. So go back and attach stitch marker. I don't want to miss your first stitch. Okay, this attach stitch marker first one. Okay, so continue stitch pattern until the end, and then I'll meet you guys back for the next steps. Okay, so after round 31, I crocheted further. I'm so sorry guys, I totally forgot I was making a video tutorial of this. But after round 31, you should have 240 stitches. I'm so sorry I forget to give you guys stitch counts after every increase round, but the written pattern contains stitch counts for every critical step. Okay, and it's super easy for you to catch up. Basically, what you're going to do is work split and crochet stitch in every single stitch all the way around. So 240 split and crochet stitches, and then repeat that round until you get to round 41. Then I'll meet you guys back. And then next step, I went ahead and then I attached stitch markers so we can separate for the sleeve and the body. And to attach the stitch marker from the beginning of the round, this is the beginning of the round stitch marker, count from there, this is 1, then count, then when you get to stitch number 48, attach a stitch marker, okay, and then still count 48, 49, then count down until you get to stitch number 119, and then attach another stitch marker, and then still count 120, 21, and then count until you get to stitch number 168 and attach another stitch marker. So attach stitch markers at stitch number 48, 119, and 168. So to begin round 42, what you're going to do next is to chain 14. So go ahead and chain 14. And then skip the first stitch, which has a stitch marker on it, and then go on to the next stitch marker, and then we're going to work a split and crochet stitch into the stitch after the stitch with the stitch marker. Okay, so this is the stitch that has a stitch marker. We're going to work into the stitch. Just work split single crochet stitch. Okay, now you can go ahead and remove this stitch marker. Now work split and crochet stitch in every single stitch until the next stitch marker. I'm back, so I've worked 70 stitches. Remove the stitch marker and then work a split and crochet stitch into that. That's going to be 71, and then into the stitch after that work another, that's going to be 72. Okay, and now chain 14 and skip the next 48 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to work a split and crochet stitch into the stitch after the next stitch marker, and that would mean I've skipped 48 stitches. So into that stitch, insert your hook, the stitch after the stitch marker, and then work a split single crochet stitch. And now work split and crochet in every single stitch until the end of the round. Okay, I'm back and I'm at the end of round 42. For round 43, the first chain is going to be our first stitch. So we're going to insert a hook under the 2 top loops. You might need to use your fingers to move around. Okay, finally, and then work a single crochet. Okay, and then remove the stitch marker here and attach it to the stitch to mark it as the first stitch of the round. Remember, this is round 43, and now for the remaining 13 chains you're going to be inserting your hook under the 2 top loops. Okay, so to the next 2 top loops. Now 2 top loops and then work a single crochet. Okay, continue for the remaining, repeat for the remaining chain. I'm done with the chains, and then into the next stitch we're going to work a split single crochet stitch. Insert your hook and then work a split single crochet stitch. You're going to repeat that until you get to the next underarm chain, and there you're going to work under the 2 top loops for the chain and then work your way around until the end of round 43, and then for round 44 you're going to work split single crochet in every single stitch. Okay, you guys don't need me to show you guys that, you know how to work it. Just so work that for all the stitches for round 44 and then repeat round 44 until you get to round. Come back, I'm at the end of round 76. Just to get out of the way, I know my nails look terrible in this video, please overlook it. This is real life me. Okay, so after this round we're going to be working about an inch band using the rib stitch pattern. Okay, so remove the stitch marker that marks the first stitch of the round, and then into the first stitch we're going to be working a back loop only single crochet. So into the back loop, work, okay, and then go back and attach a stitch marker so you don't miss the first stitch. Okay, and now the next stitch is going to be a centered single crochet, a split single crochet stitch. So going through the posts and work a single crochet. Okay, and now the next stitch is going to be a back loop on the single crochet. Into the back loop of the next stitch, work a single crochet. Okay, and then the stitch after that is going to be a split single crochet stitch. So into the stitch, remember, come out through the upside down V at the back and then work a single crochet stitch. Remember to always pull up this magic loop a bit higher than you would normally do and then close the stitch. So this is going to be the repeat for this round, so go ahead and work this repeat for the entire round and I'll meet you guys back. Okay, I'm back and I'm at the end of round 77. To begin round 78, we're going to remove the stitch marker, and then into the first stitch we're going to work a back loop only single crochet stitch, same as before, and go back and attach the stitch marker. Okay, and then the next stitch, which is a split single crochet stitch, we're going to work a split single crochet stitch into that stitch as well. Insert your hook and then work a single crochet. Okay, and into the next back loop only. So that's going to be the repeat for this round as well, and go ahead and repeat this round until you get to round 82, and then I'll meet you guys back so we can fasten off. Okay, time for us to finish the sleeve. So we have 14 stitches here, and you're going to be counting the back bump of the chain 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then insert your hook into the 8th stitch. You might need to use the hook of your hook to maneuver. Okay, then insert your hook. Okay, and now grab yarn and we're going to pull through, and next chain 1 and I'll pull the chain tight. Okay, pull that chain tight, and now the next step is you're going to single crochet into the same stitch that you attach yarn into. Okay, so into that same stitch insert your hook and work a single crochet. Okay, now into the next, insert and work a single crochet. Okay, so go ahead and work for the remaining 6 of this half of the underarm, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay, I'm back and I have 7 stitches, 7 single crochet stitches. Now we're going to work on this part of the sleeve. So if I just insert my hook into the next stitch here and work a split single crochet stitch. Okay, I'm going to have a hole from here, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to insert a hook into the side stitch. Okay, insert your hook into the side stitch and then pull up a loop, and then into the stitch you're supposed to work, which is this stitch. Insert your hook into in between the post and then pull up a loop and pull through. Okay, and now we're going to continue working split single crochet stitch in every single stitch for this section of the sleeve, and then when we get to the next armhole. Okay guys, so I have one more stitch remaining before I have to work the other half of the underarm, and we're going to be working a single crochet 2 together again. So into the stitch, insert your hook and then pull up a loop. Okay, and then into the side stitch, insert your hook, insert your hook and then pull up a loop, and now finish. Okay, now we're going to work for the remaining 7 stitches for the half of the underarm, and into the back bump of this stitch work a single crochet stitch, then into the next work another. Okay, so we're also going to be working in a spiral for this. So into the first stitch of this round, insert your hook. We're going to be working a split single crochet stitch. Okay, so insert and then pull up a loop, and then finish. Now we're going to grab a stitch marker and then we're going to mark this as the first stitch of the round. Okay. And now into the next stitch, work a split single crochet stitch as well, and continue for the entire round. Okay guys, so I'm at the end of round 2 for the sleeve. Now repeat round 2 for round 3, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay, I'm at the end of round 3 for the sleeve, and now into the first stitch we're going to work a back loop only single crochet stitch. Same thing we did for the bottom band, and then into the next work a split single crochet stitch. Okay, that's going to be the repeat for this round. Into the next work back loop only single crochet, and next work a split single crochet. Remember to mark your first stitch. Okay, so go ahead and repeat this stitch pattern for the entire round, which is going to be round 4, and then repeat that for 5 more rounds. At the end of round 9 for the sleeve, simply slip stitch to the next stitch and then pull tight and fasten off, and repeat that for the other sleeve.